Hello, my name is Lauretano. I'm running for the 64th District House seat of the General Assembly. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Massachusetts in the greater Boston area. I've lived in Connecticut since 1982, and I've been a public servant most of my adult life. I served in the U.S. Marine Corps. I served as a deputy sheriff in Los Angeles County, California. I served as a Connecticut State Trooper for 29 years, retiring approximately 2.5 years ago when I ran for public office and was elected to the Board of Selectmen. I'm also a substitute school teacher for Region 1 School District, and I'm also an entrepreneur. I have a U.S. patent, I have a prototype that's been built, and I hope to market that sometime in the near future. I'm married, father of 3 grown children. One is a special needs adoption, which is a lifelong commitment, and I have 2 grandchildren. Education. I have an associate's degree from Dean College in Franklin, Massachusetts in criminal justice. I also have a bachelor's degree from the University of Connecticut in general studies, and I have a master's degree from St. Joseph's University in West Hartford in management. So why am I running? Connecticut couldn't be in a worse economic situation than it finds itself today. Overtaxing, overspending, overborrowing, overregulating. We've had the highest tax increases in Connecticut state history. Well, the state continues to increase its spending and borrowing money at an alarming rate just to pay day-to-day operating expenses. Then you have the misuse of funds, like the Connecticut gas tax, which is supposed to be put into a special transportation fund for our roads and bridges. Instead, it's going into the general fund for miscellaneous expenses and social programs. Connecticut businesses and manufacturing are overtaxed, overregulated, and leaving the state. We have governors from outside this state coming into Connecticut to recruit our businesses away and spending millions of dollars in advertisement to do so. Connecticut hospitals are overtaxed and threatening to close their doors. The legislature implemented a provider tax, and the hospital lost 26 jobs just like that. Then you have unemployment. Unemployment's been hovering at 8.1% for several years. It's recently been reduced to about 7.2%, but most experts believe it's twice that amount because people just aren't looking for work. Then you have Keno gambling. The legislature is trying to balance its budget on Keno gambling, preying on the most vulnerable people in society today. They want to open up over 600 locations statewide in bars and restaurants where people will have easy access to gambling, to easily gamble their family assets away. It's an embarrassment. Connecticut Democrats have enjoyed a supermajority in the House and Senate going on 40 years, and they continue to make the same legislative mistakes over and over again. Tax, spend, borrow, and then expect a different result at the end of each legislative session. So what's wrong with my opponent? My opponent's an entrenched, extremely partisan, liberal progressive, career politician who continually runs up taxes, the debt, and the deficit, imposing greater state control over your life, my life, and businesses. And we need to put her out of business. How will I get Connecticut going? How will I vote? I'll vote to reduce taxes, reduce spending, reduce borrowing, reduce regulations that threaten Connecticut businesses, our hospitals, our manufacturing, and our citizens. I will vote to strengthen FOI laws, freedom of information, the people's right to know, that are constantly under threat by this governor and this legislature. I will vote to stop the misuse of funds. I will vote to protect our Second Amendment rights that are constantly under threat by this governor and this legislature. And I will vote to keep Connecticut criminals behind bars where they belong instead of being released into Connecticut communities where they threaten Connecticut citizens. And lastly, I hope to be one of the many new members of the General Assembly, because let's face it, if we don't get behind our people, if we don't get our people elected, we're going to continue down this road to economic disaster. We're looking at a $1.1 to $2.3 billion deficit over the next 2 budget cycles. We need to learn to live within our means, and we need to learn to create a better business environment. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless you all.